Witch in Charm's Way, a cozy mystery audiobook, written and narrated by R.K. Dreaming. Part 12. Chapter 6. To Beach or Not to Beach. "Lebowski," said Viv with a big grin. "How's that for detective work?" Her eyes narrowed. "And now that I come to think of it, I'm pretty sure that I saw those two hanging out together more than a few times at the beach and Club Nocturne." "Lily and Beach Bum," said Fluffy doubtfully. "But Lily was so gorgeous, and Lebowski is such a, well, you know, a beach bum, and he's so old." "He's not old," said Aunt Adele in mild outrage. "I remember when he was a boy." "He's not a boy anymore," said Fluffy, looking like she didn't want to offend Aunt Adele by saying decades had passed since Lebowski had been a boy. Allegra caught my gaze and we both smiled at each other. Beach Bum was a decade older than us and in his late 40s. I supposed to Fluffy, who had just turned 30, that this might seem a bit old. Allegra and I, however, had first met Beach Bum when we were in our teens and he was in his 20s. Even back then he had been intent on living a life of leisure and had begun his much contested journey for turning one end of Brimstone Bay beach into his own little beach hut kingdom. Or that filthy shack, as Granny Selma liked to call it. "Wasn't Beach Bum harmless?" I said to Allegra. She shrugged. "I haven't seen him much around recently. I'm not really part of his crowd." Viv snorted. "Oh yeah? Are you sure Beach Bum isn't your mystery man?" Allegra shot Viv a dirty look. "He's more your type than mine," she shot back. "Bite your tongue," said Aunt Adele. "I don't want any of my grandnieces ending up with that Beach Bum. He's definitely not your Prince Charming." Viv giggled. "Tell that to Allegra. She must be worried that her prince isn't very charming if she's having to keep him hidden." "Didn't I tell you there is no prince?" ground out Allegra. "Here, why don't you girls try a couple of my potion truffles?" said Aunt Adele, looking keen on heading off an argument. "I've been experimenting with them. They're my latest invention." Aunt Adele handed out a box of gorgeous little truffles of pink, milk and white chocolate. We all reached for one. I chose a milk chocolate one, and when I bit into it, I was surprised at the tingling rush of delight that ran through me. "Ooh," I said. "That reminds me of Allegra's Bubblicious Bubbles. It's yummy." Allegra had recently invented balloon-like bubbles of liquid chocolate that she had filled with different flavours of happiness-infused air. They had proved very popular during their trial in our family's Magic Wild Market flagship store. Allegra had sent me some in the post. Viv looked at Allegra thoughtfully. "Bubblicious Bubbles. What an innovation. Gosh, I wonder what could have made you so inspired recently." Allegra groaned. "Why do you never let anything go?" "Sisters," said Aunt Adele, smiling fondly. "Oh, how I've missed this." Viv had only been joking about Allegra and Beach Bum, of course. Beach Bum liked to hang out with what he called the fun-loving crowd to keep his spirit young. His little beach hut kingdom was a hotspot for chilled-out beach fire parties where people brought their own food and booze and their own musical instruments and laughed and sang and danced late into the nights. This wasn't Allegra's scene anymore. Speaking of scenes, I frowned. Isn't Club Nocturne a bit upmarket for Beach Bum's taste? Are you sure it was him that you saw there with Lily? Viv shrugged. Pretty sure. I was there with Coco. I can ask her. You shouldn't be hanging out so much with Coco, said Allegra darkly. Chill out. She's our cousin. Family first, remember? Allegra rolled her eyes. We all knew that Viv and Coco both had a little bit of a rascal in their souls and enjoyed each other's company. If only they weren't always drawn towards trouble together. Allegra turned to me. I suppose it is possible Beach Bum might have been at Club Nocturne. It's owned by Oberon Malte Sr. And you said that Lily and Oberon Jr. were friends, so maybe she invited Beach Bum there? Viv's eyes lit up. Let's go and find Beach Bum tomorrow, she said. We can make a day of it at the beach. How about picnic at lunchtime? We'll lure him out with some of Aunt Adele's cake. He won't be able to resist. Aunt Adele looked very flattered. I'll pack you a picnic basket, she said, looking excited at the thought of what treats she was going to put in there for us. I can't, I said shortly. Why not? Allegra demanded immediately. Viv and Fluffy looked disappointed too. We haven't been out for a day on the beach together forever, said Fluffy longingly. Oh, please say yes, Esme. I shook my head. The thought of the burning midday sun made me cringe in horror, and I hoped it didn't show on my face. I would wither away before their very eyes. I can't, I said. We can't question Beach Bum anyway. You should have heard Chris Constantine going on at me like I was a suspect, and he was really mad when he saw me talking to the werewolf James. At this rate, he's going to think that we're deliberately trying to mess up his case. Viv snorted. We should solve that case for Chief Rain, and then rub it in Hawk Hardwick's face. Let's see how our new mayor likes that. We should stay out of it, said Fluffy, looking worried. Granny wouldn't like it. Granny would love it, said Viv. She'll be on the phone to the Daily Oracle right away, letting them know what's what. And what good would that do, said Allegra. It's not like Mayor Blaze is going to reinstate Chief Rain. I bet Chris Constantine is barking up the wrong tree with that sugar daddy clue, said Viv. I'd love to see his smug face when he realizes that we know who Sugar Daddy is, and that he's been chasing after all of the rich guys in town and aggravating them for no reason. He hasn't got a smug face, I said, and then flushed. Viv looked at me with newfound interest. Oh, yeah? Has somebody got a little crush that she wants to tell us about? No, I haven't, I said irritably. Leave her alone, said Allegra. She turned to me. We should go anyway. We'll have a fun day out. I shook my head. I can't face it. It will probably be chilly and windy, and I'm just getting over a virus. Okay, said Allegra. But we'll definitely do a beach day before you go home, okay? I did a half-nod shrug thing. Because how was I supposed to tell her that if I didn't find a cure, there was no way I'd ever be going to a beach picnic again? Hey there, this is the end. Comment code word, oops, a daisy, to confuse everyone who isn't at this part of the story yet. Thanks for commenting.